Trini, good afternoon. Thank you for spending some time with me today. I'm looking forward to hearing the story about Gracianna Winery and looking forward to tasting your award-winning wines.
Super. Well, really excited to be here. Thanks a lot. Gracianna was my great-grandmother, and she was French Basque. And when I was a kid, she used to talk a lot about being thankful. And so that's why our wine is for people who have something to be grateful for. And we got in the wine business because we caught our son making wine in the garage when he was 15 years old.
Huh.
And so now he's 36. So basically, we didn't think it was a good idea to have wine in the house with a 15-year-old kid, so we threw the wine away. And so he was moping around like 15-year-old kids do. And finally we said, look, if this is really important to you, we'll support you and buy you some more professional equipment, but you have to get an internship. So it turns out that a few months later, he showed up with a list of about like $2,000 worth of stuff to buy. And we're like, we're not going to buy this. He said, yeah, but I got a job. So it turns out that the guy he interned with 5 years later became the worldwide winemaker of the year. And that was Bob Cabral at Williams Medallion.
Wow.
So, Bob took him under his wing, and Trini learned a lot there. And he was going to go to UC Davis, where all the kids go to learn how to make wine. But Bob said, if you go to Davis, they'll turn it into a chemistry exercise. He said, you can't make great wine out of crappy fruit. He said, be a grower. Learn how to grow great fruit. Because if you can grow great fruit, or you can identify great fruit, you have a better chance of making great wine. And so that's what happened. He became basically an agricultural scientist and turned out to be a grower. And so now the family makes wine at Gracianna's. We started in 2007 with 50 cases of Pinot and 50 cases of Zin. And both of those wines won gold at the San Francisco Wine Competition. And we were off and running. So that was in 2007. I remember saying to the family, we were selling wine like a very small, very, very tiny micro winery, which we still are. But back then, we were selling wine to all of our friends and family. You know how it is.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember saying to the family one day, the first person who buys wine that we don't know, that's when we're a real winery. And then one day an order came through, and I said, I don't know who this is. And no one knew who it was. And we found out that this person was at a party with someone who we did know and really loved the wine, called and ordered it. And that's how we sort of got off to the races. Because I remember saying, way back in the very beginning, that people started asking us to buy our wine when our son was, quite young. And we were saying, well, we're not selling wine because we're not in the wine business. But eventually when we did, that's how it happened. And the business grew very organically and very, very slowly over the years. And so here we are, basically 14 years later. And, last year we made the most lauded Pinot Noir in America. That wine won the 2018 Westside Reserve, won the Danburger International Wine Competition, which is a really big deal for us, for a small winery to do that. And then a couple months later, it won gold at the 50 Best competition, 50 Best Pinot Noirs in California. And then in June, it won the it won the Sunset Magazine International Wine Competition. So that means that not only was it the best red or the best Pinot, but it was the best in show of 2,700 wines. So it was a huge accolade for us. And then it won a bunch of other regional competitions as well. That was the 2018 Reserve. We only made 118 cases, I think, of it or so. And there's still probably 10 or 15 cases left.
Wow. Well, that's such a great story to kick this off, man. Congratulations on all those great accolades and awards.
So let me tell you the story about the book. I wrote a book about my great-grandmother, Gracianna. When I was 4 years old, she caught me walking around her house in Southern California with a loaded German Luger. So my book is about what was my grandmother doing with a loaded German Luger in her nightstand. So I went to the Basque country in Europe and did the research. That research took me to Paris and eventually to Auschwitz. And we had no idea our family had any relationship to the war like that because she was Catholic French Basque, right? So it turns out it's a chilling story. I wrote the book. I landed an editor who's edited 20 New York Times bestselling books. And the first publisher we sent the book to took it. And over the winter, that was a few years ago that I wrote the book. But over this last winter, I narrated that book into an audiobook. And the audiobook just came out today on Audible. And it was featured in a big blast that Audible sent out saying, these are the best new books to listen to. So we're very excited about that. So if folks, like reading, if they like the hardbound book or they like a printed book, they can send a note to us here at the tasting room or buy it. I'll sign the book and I'll ship it off to them as a gift. If they know people who like to read, it's a great gift, and I'm happy to sign the book. Or if they enjoy an e-book or a Kindle, they can get it from Amazon. And if they like to listen, then they can now order or download the book on Audible and listen to the book as well.
Well, that's awesome. I think that's great.
So I know that we're going to taste wine soon, but before we do, I thought I would tell you about some other things that are coming that are also exciting. We have our first Napa Cab coming out this summer.
Okay.
And so we have some fruit for the 2018 vintage that came from St. Helena around the Ehlers Lane area. So this will be the first Napa Cab that Gracianna Wine has made. It's been bottled and been in the barrel for quite a while, as you know. And so that wine's coming out later this summer. We're calling this wine Lutèce. It's called Lutèce. And Lutèce is what the medieval name for Paris. So Paris used to be called Lutèce. And since Paris was the first step for my great-grandmother to come to the U.S., we decided to name this wine Lutèce because this is our first step into Napa Cab.
So what ventured you into making a cab?
Yeah, that's a great question. So first of all, we like cab. And so, and people occasionally ask us in the tasting room, have you ever thought about doing this? Have you ever thought about doing that? And, we knew though that to let you in on something that we haven't really talked a lot about, and that is we have a second cab coming next year.
Okay.
So coming is made from fruit from Stagecoach.
Oh, wow.
And so it's going to be, a big, traditional, big, beefy, beautiful Napa Cab. So since we knew that was happening, we wanted to make two, and we decided that the first one would be made in a different style. So the Lutèce is made in a Russian River style. We made this Napa Cab in a Pinot style. So what does that mean? It's lower alcohol. It is medium bodied. It is very refreshing. It tastes like Napa Cab, but it's very drinkable. It has a very high drinkability score, and it's very, very easy to drink. So it's more medium bodied, lower alcohol than typical, and that's the first cab that's coming. The second cab will be a beast, basically, and so it's going to be very easy for people to differentiate between the two. They'll both taste like Napa Cabernets, which they are, but one will be much, much more approachable and very, very easy to drink, and the other will be a big traditional Napa Cab that is beautiful, very luxurious, and stunning. So that's sort of in the department of you've heard it here first.
Oh, that's awesome. I look forward to tasting those.
Why don't we start with the Chardonnay? I see you have the Chardonnay there.
Mm-hmm.
And so this wine just won best in class best in class at the North Coast Challenge. Okay. And it also garnered a 97 score. The reviews are outstanding on this. We like to make Chardonnays that are for people who don't like Chardonnay. What that means is it's not oaky, it's not buttery, it's bright, it's acidic, and it just has these very beautiful nose, and it's obviously quite beautiful to taste as well. Right. So I encourage you to try this wine. I'm going to be drinking it with you. Cheers.
Perfect. Cheers. Wow. Very nice and refreshing. And you said it's not overpowering. It doesn't have a lot of that oak in it. Not huge butter either. Not too buttery. And nice balance on the acidity as well. I like that.
So this wine will go well with, a typical Chardonnay dish, something with pasta. Last night we were having some beautiful ling cod, so it goes with a light fish. Any sort of vegetarian meal or salad, something like that. And yeah, just really, really beautiful wine.
No, it is.
We're really, really proud of this wine and very excited about it. Well, I'm glad you like it. This is the style that we've made from the very beginning of Chardonnay and at Gracianna. And folks know to look for this sort of style when they come into the winery. And I can't tell you how often, this happened today actually, someone was, we said this is Chardonnay for people who don't like Chardonnay, and the person said, I don't really like Chardonnays, and then they drank it and said, you know what, I like this one. So pretty cool.
Absolutely. And then we have your 2019 Pinot Noir.
Yeah, so let me tell you about this wine. This is called Resilient. And so this is this is Russian River fruit as well. All the wines that we make are Russian River. Sonoma County has had some challenges, Oscar, over the last few years. And, we've had fires, multiple fires. In 2019, we got flooded here because our winery is right in the middle. I'm sitting here in the middle of the Miracle Mile on West Side Road in Healdsburg. And there's a big turn in the river here. And I can see the trees that are right at the edge of the Russian River. And when the river comes up, it can't make the bend. So it jumps over the bank and it comes right through here. So starting at Rocchioli down to West Side Farms, this one whole mile actually is inundated with water. And, generally it comes into the vineyards every year or many times. But in 2019, it came into the tasting room almost 7 feet. And so that was a really very, very difficult time for us. So we had multiple fires, we had the flood, then obviously we had the pandemic. But in 2019, I was saying, you really need to be resilient to live in Sonoma County because all the stuff that's going on around here. So the idea stuck, and we decided to develop this Pinot Noir. Now it's made in a completely different style of very fruit-forward Pinots that we normally make. This one is more acid-forward, so it's a very food-friendly Pinot. It's almost not fair to sort of drink it by itself because it really lends itself to food. And so any sort of protein is wonderful with. It's also great with an acid-based a dish like a spaghetti sauce or lasagna or meatballs or pizza even, because of the acid also balances out with the acid in the wine. Or anything cheese-based. And I see that you happen to have some cheese there.
Yes, so I do.
I would encourage you to pick something up. And I was actually having cheese a few minutes ago before we started, so I'm a little bit ahead of you.
All right.
So cheers on the Resilience 2019 Pinot. You see it has this beautiful nose, this beautiful fruit-forward nose, has nice body, and you can also taste the acid in the wine, but the cheese really smooths that out and really complements it. The beauty about this wine, having sort of an acid-forward wine, is it really turns your taste buds on. And so to me, I get this juiciness in my mouth, and it just makes my salivary gland sort of wake up, and so that's quite lovely. So we're really, really proud of this wine. This is not a juried wine yet because it's really relatively new to us, but we expect it to do quite well as well.
You have beautiful tannins. I love this color. Really pretty color. It's a little bit more deeper red, and it's really pretty compared to the other ones. It's a little bit more lighter. But this is such a really pretty color.
It's super easy to drink. You know, when you get those beautiful low alcohol Pinots, then you find yourself just enjoying them. And a lot of times you don't really need to eat anything.
Right. Yeah. You know, you definitely don't have an alcohol nose whatsoever on this. You could really smell the fruit. So it's like you said, it's very fruit forward. This is some really well balanced, great finish. You know, different style wines. They're not your typical Chardonnays. They're not your typical Pinots. And it just keeps your customers coming back, right? They're just like, what is he going to release next? So,
well, you know, I got to tell you, we're so proud to spend some time with you, and very, very happy to have the opportunity to get together. And we look forward to actually doing this with you again with our first Napa Cab later this summer, hopefully, and we can meet again and enjoy ourselves. And I want to make sure that you know that you are invited, and anybody who's watching right now, because of COVID, we were closed a lot last year, but we're now open on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and we expect to be open more and more as the season goes by, because more and more people are vaccinated, which is wonderful.
Yes.
We're starting to see tourists coming back into Sonoma County, which is great. But this video is going to last a long time, so my message to folks is plan to come to Sonoma County. Life is opening up again, and we would love to have you here. Just get in touch with us and let us know that you're coming by, and we'd love to see you and show you the friendly, you know, Gracianna service. One other thing I thought I would tell you about is our wine club is called the Medallion Club. And what that means is that when folks join the wine club, and we have hundreds of people that are in the wine club, we make one of these medallions for you. It looks like this.
Cool.
And it's a stone, or it's a slate medallion, handmade by an artist. And we actually hang these medallions on your own vine.
Oh, wow.
So people will join the club. They pay $25 for the medallion. The medallion belongs to them. If they ever decide that they're not in the club anymore, we mail it to them post prepaid. And so there are over 800 medallions that are out there in the vineyard right now. And these are all people that are in the wine club. And in our wine club's a little bit different from some. You know, some of the wineries, they send you whatever they want, but we send you whatever you want. We have lots of different kinds of configurations, and folks can choose what they like. And we send wine out twice a year, and it's very approachable.
And normally, what is your cost to join your wine club?
Yeah, so you can get 4, 6, or 12 bottles twice a year. So basically, probably in the $150 to $180 per shipment 2 times a year.
Oh, that's pretty affordable. And normally, when I would see some of the wine clubs are Europe, Napa, even some high-end ones also in Sonoma are usually about $300, $400, per shipment. You get close to $800 to $1,000 per year. So, wow, yours is pretty affordable.
And another thing we offer is Magnums. So we make a Magnum of the estate Pinot, and it's a great value because 2 bottles of wine, basically, it's a great package. And I'm not sure if your listeners or your viewers know this, but Magnums last twice as long because there's twice as much volume in the bottle. So it's a great wine to lay down. And especially with everything that's been going on with the pandemic, we're looking for something to be grateful for and something to celebrate. And I think that, getting a Magnum and having that shipped down and enjoy that at Thanksgiving, or when you have your first big party after, getting your family back together after what's been going on, it'd be a wonderful experience to have that.
Okay.
We really appreciate spending time with you. I'm really happy to meet you, and been following you and get the vibration, but meeting the man in person is really wonderful. So thank you so much for all your time. And I'm inviting you to come and see us. So put us on the list when you come to Sonoma County. Just let us know in advance, and we'll do some tasting in person, huh?
Absolutely. What I'll do, I'll make a note of that, and also we'll bring you some wine to share from Temecula. Because you mentioned you haven't been in Temecula for a couple of years, right? What was your last time you were here?
It was 10, 12 years ago.
Wow.
I was just a kid then.
Okay. Oh yeah, 10, 12 years ago. You're like, okay. Again, Trini, for your time, I really appreciate it. And thank you for sending me these amazing wines. I look forward to drinking them and enjoying them with a good meal. And I'll look forward to seeing you soon.